Okay, how's it going today or this evening? I hope everyone is having a good Thursday night. Want to do something different today. I wanted to go ahead and do a live stream on YouTube, but this time I'm actually going to go ahead and do a portrait in sepia, which always has not been easy for me. When you work in sepia, there's a lot of weird things it does, especially when you work in opaques like I do. So it's going to be pretty exciting, and I'm going out on a limb for you guys because I want to, even though I went ahead and did a lot of tests, I still, it's not going to be 100% like I did this 100 times. But I think we're going to be okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to very quickly go to my live stream here. Let me lower this, and then if anyone's watching me, I could see your questions and comments. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start mixing. So, go to this camera here. So I think this was on, I don't know, maybe this was on Saturday night or Sunday. I decided to do some tests with sepia. You know, what colors would be best for that. So what I'm finding is that actually mixing sepia with white and then a little bit of orange gave me a real satisfactory base color. So I was pretty happy with that. And also when I go over it with white, it actually is pretty good. It's it doesn't turn blue too much because it will have orange in there. So I go ahead and I use these mixing cups, and these are something that you can buy at Walmart. They're real inexpensive. I think you get like 50 of them for like $2.25. They come with tops, which is really great, so that's fantastic. One thing though, when you do mix with them, you want to make sure you mix circular, because you go like this, there's a little ridge there, and it's gonna sort of squirt paint on you, on your artwork, on your friend next to you. So definitely you don't want to do that. So what we're going to do, so here is the painting that I've been working on. So I don't know if you remember last week I went ahead and did a drawing, and then after the drawing was done I erased it, so it's just very fine, you can hardly see it. And then what I did just the day before yesterday is I cut some frisket, which is perfect size for it, and I just cut out where her face, neck, and her arms and chest area. So her hair and the background is covered. So this allows me to get some really nice hard edges and really helps to control the spray and get some nice clean sprays. So it's gonna be good. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and mix some colors. I want to mix this color right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change cameras so you could see me mix. Now I'm definitely not going to mix over my painting because that would be a no-no. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my sepia, and I use golden paints, as you can see. Let's see if anyone is watching me yet. So far, nobody's watching me. That's okay. I'm still going to do it. Okay. Go ahead and do our base. And I use these Huggies wipes. They're really good. They're very absorbent. So I highly recommend them. And I just like to keep the cap clean. And then we have our titanium white. When you shake it, make sure you put your finger there, because if you don't, one day it would be stuck open. You'll shake it and there'll be paint everywhere. Just a very quick tip. Then we're going to put some of our white in there. Maybe a little whiter. Clean the tip. Put it back. Now the secret ingredient, this is basically Pyro Orange Transparent. What I like to do is I get the fluid acrylics, which are thick, and I thin it with the Airbrush Medium, which I'm gonna have to go and get because I always mix with the Airbrush Medium, and I think I have it in my other studio. But let's go ahead and put a couple of drops in here, and we'll see what that does. I definitely want that color. Okay, maybe a little bit more. Got a lot of paint on this, so make sure we keep it clean. It's pretty close. Maybe just a little bit. No, I think that's fine. And then what we'll do is we have a lot of orange in there. We have sepia white and a lot of orange. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to very quickly go and get my Airbrush Medium and Transparent Extender. So we'll just go to this screen. I'll be right back. So let me go get that. Okay, thanks for waiting. So this is basically what is really good. You have this high flow. Let's see if I can get it. That's probably the worst camera, so let's go to this camera here. So you see we have the high flow medium. What that does, when the paint is already at, like, let's say an airbrush consistency that you can shoot through it, you add this and you can extend it without losing the saturation or lessening the loss of saturation. So you can make it much thinner. So that's really good. Let's say you're using something like golden fluid acrylics, and that's not really made with the viscosity to go through an airbrush, especially something like a micron. So you would add the airbrush medium, and that will thin it to the consistency that it can shoot through an airbrush. So those are good things to know. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little bit in here. And since I'm going to be shooting very thin, let's put a little bit of this high flow medium in there. It used to be called Transparent Airbrush Extender or something like that, and then Golden changed the name because they used to have a whole line of airbrush paints. They used to call them airbrush colors, transparents and opaques, and about 5 years ago they went to high flow. And high flow basically is not just for airbrush but for other applications, so that's why they did that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to load the airbrush. Let me get to a different... Okay, so we're going to go ahead and load this airbrush with this color. Always keeping everything neat and clean. So let's go ahead and test this, shall we? Okay, so I do like it. So let's see, because I'm looking at the portrait that I'm working on. And I think I want it a little lighter and a little more orange. So what I'm going to do is park my airbrush and pour out the color that I had in the cup. So what we're going to do is we're going to, let me get to a different camera here. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to add some more white. Let's get that here. Sometimes I think something like this is even more important than if you were doing something like really fantastic, showing you how to paint an eye. Something like this is much more applicable. So let's mix that in. And then we could put in a little more orange. Let's see what that does. Okay, I like this a lot better already. So let me shoot out what was in there. And then we'll pour this in. Okay, so right now I'm basically going to work on the midtones area. So let's see. So let's test this again. Okay, cool. We'll put this off to the side. Let me get my reference. We'll start with this angle here. And let me pull up my reference. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start. Sort of a precarious sort of position here, but I'm not actually in my studio. I normally do airbrush painting. I'm in the YouTube studio. So let's now I got to make sure I have good flow. So let's start with the large areas, shall we? Let's see. We're going to keep everything really light. Now this definitely is not a transparent because I added quite a bit of white to it. Okay. Hey, what's up there? Willie, how's it going? Good to see ya. I decided to do something totally different today. See how that goes. Can you see everything correctly and does it look good? And always move around fast and be careful not to... Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that, sir. Now let's see. I got a little bit of a tip dry here. Let's see how it looks on different angles. Doesn't quite show up on those other camera angles. Let me quickly change the resolution just a little bit, or the aperture, so we can see it just a little bit better. Let's see. So we'll go to ISO. .100. Actually, let's do 100, and then we will change this. Let's see if that's a little bit better. Okay, I can see it a little bit better now. Is it the same with you, Willie? You see that? You may have to add just a little bit of water to this. Ah, great. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Go back to my reference. Okay, so let's work on this part of her. You definitely want to get the anatomy correct. And start out, you know, with a good distance away. Let's see if we can move this up a little bit. Start with a good distance away, so this way you're going much lighter and you're not going too dark. You always want to pass, you don't want any blowouts on your actual artwork, of course. There we go. And of course I have the hair, her hair covered, so we're not dealing with that. So when you peel back, it'll be totally clean. Her ear isn't covered, so we can definitely work on that. And this is the first pass. We're going to go darker and darker as we go. Let's see if I can add just a little bit more of this high flow here. I think I want just a little better flow than what I have. We'll shake it up pretty good. Make sure there's no tip dry. Okay. So what we can do is move this down closer to me. I usually work, you know, straight up and down, so it's a little bit different for me. But I thought this was the best way to teach you guys. I'll test it right here on the frisket. Let me make sure I'm getting a good flow here. Okay, I might break out the micron, I think, because I worked with this today, and sometimes the Eclipse needs a pretty good cleaning when you're going back into it later in the day, so I might break out my micron. Yeah, definitely going to break out the micron, I think. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get my micron and I'm going to work on that, and I think that would give me a much better time with this, that's for sure. So what I'm going to do is I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. So I am back. I have the CMSB, and it's a great brush. Let's go ahead and test this out. So here's the micron. Let me take off the cap. And let's take a look and see if we have a better flow with this one. Okay, pretty much night and day. Not because the Eclipse is worse, it's just that this is a very clean airbrush. Okay. Now we can get to work. Ugh, that is not the flow I'm looking for. Okay, this is a little bit better. I'm just going to go ahead and erase some of this here, which I don't like. It's easily fixed, so it's no problem. Let's go ahead and darken those nostrils again. Go. Let me push this up a little bit so you can see it. It is challenging, definitely, on a flat surface, especially when I'm used to working, straight up and down. That's, how I was always trained to paint. So it is, but it's a good challenge, Willie, and that's not bad. So I'm always up for the challenge, that's for sure. And if it helps to teach better, and I think that's a good reason to do it, or at least try it, right? Now what we can do is use our shield here to get some nice hard edges, and we'll just begin using it. This way we could really start to get into some of those details here and there. With the freehand shield, you just have to be patient, and you'll find that, that shape you're looking for. But it usually takes a little bit of a challenge till you get it. Go. Let's try right here. There, I think we got it pretty good there. Then we can definitely do this with her lips, her upper lip. Let's see if we can zoom in on her upper lip. That would be pretty cool. over. Okay, cool. So you can see where we are right now, and this way I could hit that. This way you have a nice separation between her upper lip and her teeth. See, that's much better. Let's zoom on out. And then little by little, what we're doing is we're just trying to get a base, and then we can go in with a little bit of a darker color to get some of the darker values. And then we're going to go in with a mixture of white with a little bit of orange. And then we'll start getting into some opaques as well, which I think would be very helpful. Hey, Bhupati, how you doing? Good morning. Good to see you. Bhupati's my friend from India. We talked today on the live stream earlier. Good to see you. And let's see if we can use that freehand shield again to separate her bottom lip from her teeth. There we go. I think that looks much better. Go. And I think what's important is that we try and work with confidence and take chances. Now that it's nice and low, let me go ahead and add a little bit more of this high flow medium here. Make it a little bit thinner. Let's test this on the surface here. Okay. Doing exactly what I wanted to do. Well, maybe a little bit of a tip dry. Okay. I know that's a pretty scary area, but I figure we definitely have to have confidence to try it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get some aggressive erasers. They're in my other studio. So I will be right back. Okay, so I am back and I got some really good aggressive erasers here. Let's see if we could fix some of these little issues here. There we go. I think I made this tooth a little small, so I fixed that. And then over here, there. So now we can do some eraser techniques right now, which would be good. So now I'm feeling much better because I'm able to do some things with a little more control. And I'm in no hurry to get dark here. No hurry whatsoever. There we go. So I'm feeling really good about that right now. Pretty soon I'm going to start going into a darker tone. and sort of hitting some of the mid-tones. This is like a very light underpainting in sepia, but the difference in sepia underpainting is that you continue to work in sepia. So the whole thing is an underpainting. What I'm going to do is I'm going to dust over everything here. Because I'm going to utilize the white and orange mixture. That's the difference between this and, let's say, working in a transparent manner. You leave the white for the highlight. I'm not going to do that. Going to be a little more brave. So what I'm going to do very quickly is we're going to do a test to see when I put in a tone. We're going to put in a tone here from the dark all the way to the light tone that I have here. See that? So I'm basically doing all of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to test the white, how the white reacts. So what I'm going to do is we'll go ahead and empty the Eclipse. Make sure we get all that paint out. I'm going to actually shoot some water through it. And then we're going to mix the orange-white mixture first. We're going to do that together so you can see the process and how I do it. So just give me a few moments here. See, I have this which I made, which is basically a gallon of milk, and it was cut out, and then I could use that to spray in. See that? So it's not going all in the air and everything like that, so that's good. Okay, so I'm pretty happy that I have a clean Eclipse now, and let's go ahead and get cup here. White's going to be our main color, so we're going to make sure we start out with white. Well, so this is titanium white. Zinc white is a little thin. So this gives us a nice coverage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, since this is already high flow, it doesn't need medium. But it could need some high, doesn't need high flow medium, but it could probably use some of the high flow medium thins and extends acrylic colors. Just a little bit thinner. We're going to try this, and if it is if it needs orange, you'll see it turn blue. But if it doesn't, we definitely could use just white. Okay, so let's go ahead and see if we could zoom in just a tad. Okay, there we go. Okay. See that? I don't see much blue, which is nice. I don't see too much of a blue shift. Even where it's darker, let me zoom out a bit. So my goal is to just cover it so you sort of blends in with the paper. And it seems to do that. So I'm feeling pretty confident that I could go ahead and add some of this white to the painting. So let's go ahead and give it a shot, shall we? Let's see. I'm going to go to my reference. See, that's doing exactly what I wanted to do. It's a nice thin mixture, but the great thing is there is no blue shift. Always test this out. And always test this out on a scrap piece of paper. So it's really nice when this does work out like this. So I could do a dusting over this. And there's no shift. And I can also sort of paint more freely, not worrying about getting too dark. You know what, I'm just going to dust over everything here. When I first got into airbrushing, I've seen a lot of artists, they just do transparent, and that wasn't a challenge enough for me. But this is definitely a challenge. See, I can get subtleties in here that you normally can't get if you're just doing transparents. And what I'm doing is basically setting up when I go darker, and then I don't have to worry about if my midtones go a little bit over, so what? I can go ahead and just blast it with the white or white orange mixture, whatever's needed. Okay. See if I can just lower this air pressure just a little bit. Let's work on our teeth here. Shape her chin. And it's nice because now I could really think in terms of an oil painter. Not worried about that whole blue shift thing. Always make sure you don't oversaturate the surface. That's always something that you want to keep in mind. I'm going to keep saying it all the time because that could really cause problems with your painting. See how nice? I mean, there's no blue shift whatsoever. But I am still working thin. As I start working thicker, I'm going to have to add some orange to it. But I think the fact that we both seen that I put a lot of orange in the mixture of the sepia, and that really helped. Okay, so let's see if we can go back in with the sepia again. Just change airbrushes. Back to the clips, back to the micron. Whenever you start a new airbrush or a new mixture, never begin on your painting. Test it out, because it could be like a blowout waiting to happen. So many different things could happen, so you want to be very careful. So it's a pretty slow night, but that's cool. I always say to people who are supposed to be at my live streams are at my live streams. Hey, how you doing? What's going on from the UK? Good to see you. 3 o'clock in the morning. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me. in the wee hours. I really appreciate that. Are you an airbrush artist yourself? So basically we're just working on the initial layers of sepia painting. Oh, great. Well, you came to the right spot because, you know, on my channel, definitely subscribe because I have a lot of videos on, you know, airbrushing, how I begin. So you have a lot to choose from. And hey, Fernando, ¿cómo está from Argentina? Good to see you, man. So nice. We got some new people here. So yeah, definitely subscribe. I also do live streams. I did one just this morning. Bupati was there, and we actually did a black and white underpainting, which we're going to go in with black and white paint later down the line. So that we just did. Last week I did a really cool video of just using India ink for a full painting. So that was really cool. Ah, thanks. Oh, and ask any questions, guys, please. I'm very happy to help you. Ah, thanks. Yeah, you know, the underpainting came out of a need. I used to do underpaintings for my pastel paintings. And that worked out really well, and I decided to start doing that for my... not just for my pastels, but I started doing that for airbrush, so it really worked out. And you can use it as an art form in itself, which is really wild. Okay, I'm starting to feel a little bit of... If I start hearing something weird with the airbrush or anything, I'm going to check and make sure that I have a good flow, that there isn't a clog. Oh, well, thank you. I really appreciate that. You know, I love doing it. It's a lot of fun. And, you know, I love sharing. And because I remember when I started, a lot of it I had to learn on my own. So if I could answer some questions and whatnot, that would be fantastic. I like using these freehand shields, and I'll show you real quick how handy it comes in. Sort of get that line of her. See that? Nice. So we use that to get that. It's a nice, soft, organic look. If I went into it with a paintbrush, it just wouldn't look as nice. So what I'm going to do, since I came in with a little bit more of the airbrush with the sepia tone, we're going to go ahead and erase a little bit. Oh, very cool. Very nice to meet you there. Hey, Artist Wannabe, thank you so much for stopping by. That is so cool. Oh, cool. That's nice. You had a good day at work? Was it a good day, a hard day? It's always a good day at work when it's over, right? When you do use the aggressive eraser. Oh, hey, Kiva, how you doing? Oh, funny. I didn't recognize you. How are you? Now the good thing, guys, that this is going to stay on YouTube, so you definitely can look at it later in its entirety. Oh man, how you feeling? I'm glad you got that 3 months off, so definitely you can get into that airbrush. Are you feeling okay? Hopefully it's not something that's too painful. But art is definitely a good way to feel better. I think earlier today we had like 7 different countries represented watching the live stream, so that was a lot of fun. And you can see how light I'm starting out. Oh, you know, my prayers are with you, and I pray that, you know, each day gets better and better, and that you are able to pour yourself into your work. That would be great. That's what I'm hoping. If my videos can help a little bit, then I'm so glad I'm doing this. So the model, or the person I'm drawing, she's a famous concert pianist. So it's really neat. Sometimes I do, because I don't want to lose the drawing. So sometimes, you know, with the airbrush I might not have as much control as I want. So erasing a little bit really helps. And plus, since it's acrylic and not India ink is great. It's erasable 1, 2, 3. But with acrylic, you want to sort of attack a lot of the, you want to erase a lot. Not too aggressive, but you want to erase some of those shapes, regain some of those shapes from the drawing. Definitely, because we're going to go in with a darker color now, so that's going to be pretty cool. So let's see if we could very quickly mix a little bit of a darker color. So we're going to go back to, let's see. Oh no, this is just, I really admire this musician, and I saw this photo, and this would be a great lesson for everybody. So yeah, it's just sort of a labor of love sort of thing. So I wish he commissioned me. That would be fantastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix a little bit of a darker color here. So I'm going to, rather than just go ahead and darken this, I'm going to actually do something a little bit different. Let's see. So we're going to take, because this is a sepia painting, so we're going to stick with sepia as our main color. Yes, she really is. She's definitely a great inspiration. Her name is Katia B, and you could see her work on YouTube. I think she does Claire de Lune. So if you put Katia with an H-I-A, no, K-H-A-T-H-I-A, I'm pretty sure, and B, because her last name's really long. I think she's from the Ukraine, if I'm not mistaken. And then she does this amazing Chopin, which is the Fleur de Lune, which is really great. I'm not as well versed in classical music as I want to. I love it, but that's something I definitely have to study. So I'm just making a nice thin mixture here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of this in here. Now I like that But let's ask ourselves, is it too dark? I think so. So we're going to add some white. Yes, Claire de Lune, definitely. She's amazing. There we go. Maybe a little bit more white, because I wanted to be darker than the other color, but I wanted to have a little bit of a translucency to it. Now, what's really going to help when we do add the white mixture, because you guys know when you add white, it causes this blue shift. So I like to go ahead and add some of this Pyrrole Orange. It's a transparent color. Let's see what that does. Maybe a little bit more. I don't want it to be a lifeless sepia painting. I want to have some life to it. And I kind of like that. That's a nice mid-tone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my micron. Let's see if I can change camera angles for you. Now, I normally don't mix anywhere near my painting, but this is just for teaching purposes. Okay, so I have my micron here. You can see my whole setup. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to empty this color, which is the light sepia color we were using. Blow it out. Okay, so let's just take this, clean the cup out a little bit, and then we're going to add this darker color, and we're going to go to town. Okay, great. So let's go ahead and test this out. Okay, I like that. Let's go back to the original angle here. I like it. It's not as dark as this here, but it's a nice mid-tone, and I think that could really help us. See, just do a test. Okay, I'm happy. So yeah, let's go ahead and test on the test surface as opposed to the actual surface of the painting. That would be a lot harder to fix. Okay, so I'm going to stand. You know, the Infinity is a really great airbrush. I've never had the pleasure of working from it, but I've seen stuff done by this artist called Kelly Horn. He's really does some really great stuff with that. So what I'm going to do later, now I'm going to get that information for you because it's a very long name. Actually, after I'm done with this, I'm going to go ahead and put that in the comment section. There, I'm able to actually darken her nostrils. And as you can see, I'm just sort of very slowly working things darker. Because it's always much easier to darken than it is to lighten. And of course this is all frisket, so this is all covered. The only thing that's uncovered is her flesh, you know, her face, her neck and chest. And then everything else, you know, we're going to uncover that and then work in. What we'll do is we'll work this out to a certain extent, and then once we're done, we'll cover the face, uncover the hair, work on the hair, then cover the hair and the face, and then work on the background. So that really helps. Exactly, that's exactly it. So I'm just going over the exact areas and darkening it with that darker tone that I mixed. And then little by little, I'm getting the full values, which is like this egg right here. And I did it the same way. Is I started very light, then worked on the white, and then the light color, then the dark color over here, and then came in with the darkest dark. Darkest dark comes last, definitely. And you'll be surprised, it's all going to just come together. You know, once we get the darkest dark in place and then start hitting the highlights, it's really going to all come together. Exactly. So basically what I do, now just like a quick preview, I like to, for the darkest dark, I add this Van Dyke brown, a little bit of bone black, and then raw umber. It looks much better than if I just went ahead and just put black onto the sepia. It doesn't have any life to it. So that's, you know, that's why, you know, I approach a sepia painting differently than most artists do. And like I always say, always test out the airbrush, making sure you're getting a good flow. Pretty happy with it. So I'm going to stop in a few because I went over the hour that I normally do, because I always have so much fun to you know, hang out with everybody, and especially you know, my new friends here from the UK, Argentina, India. We got Willie's. So really, really great. I always, some people say, well, Tim, why'd you do a live stream? Only 4 people seen it, or 5 people. And I look at it, well, those are the 5 people that I did the live stream for. So they were meant to see it. So I don't really care how many people see it. I just care who gets anything from it. Now I'm going to leave this on the YouTube channel, which is, well, thank you. I really appreciate that. It's just a lot of fun. And the best part is meeting really cool people like yourself. That is the jewel in the crown. And this is really cool for me, you know, to do a live stream, to paint under pressure, you know, in front of people, and really helps me to, you know, keep things fresh. So I like to use this freehand shield. There we we go. Oh, that's nice. The way the freehand shield sort of makes the edge a little harder. So it pops her out a little bit. It really does, right? You know, you don't want to mess up in front of everyone, and you don't want to have it recorded, but it really just helps you to think with clarity. Helps me to think with clarity, because, you know, everyone's watching. I don't have time to really sit and think long about it. Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Little by little, she's really going to come out, especially when like everything looks dark now, but when we come into even the darker values, it's really going to start coming together. And then what I really love, when we peel off at the end, when we peel off all the frisket, I just love that moment. So it's really great. All right, guys, so basically we did pretty good for our initial night. I think I'm gonna do this, let's say today's what, Thursday? So maybe tomorrow night, definitely. It is, but it's a lot of fun, you know, it really is. I really enjoy it. But definitely, little by little, she doesn't look like much yet, but we're gonna get there, and there's no rush. So I think tomorrow night I'm going to go ahead and do another live stream. That would be 9 o'clock this time, so 9 o'clock Eastern time. So I'm going to do it again. So we're going to continue this, and we're going to go a little darker. It's going to be great. And I just want to say to everyone, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. It's kind of hot in here, so forgive the bad hair day. But I really had a great time, and we will see you. And don't forget to subscribe and ask any questions you need. Any questions, I'm very happy to answer. And I'm sure you'll have some answers for me. That's the whole thing. We definitely inspire each other. Oh, so if you don't catch me live, I'm going to leave it on there, and you watch it when you want to. So I'm just going to, these live streams are going to stay on the channel as videos, so don't worry about that. So everyone, I hope you have a great Thursday night, Friday morning. It's great meeting everybody, and I look forward to hanging out and talking again real soon. Take care, guys.